Welcome to Louisiana Heartbeats. I'm Sudie Landry, your host, and with me today we have a Southern artist. What that is about is that she does a lot of portrait, she does a lot of artwork of many different genres, and she is here to share with us some of her artwork. Welcome to our show, Linda Moe.
Well, thank you, Sudie, for having me here this afternoon.
I'd like to let Katie Anna know that you're a lady of many talents. And I've met you many years ago, and you just keep coming up with so many different wonderful things. But we are here today to talk and share and show your artwork. Now, when I first met you, Lord, you were writing articles, and you were the one doing all the interviewing. And lo and behold, look, I get to interview you today. Well, I don't know anything about your artwork, and I want to be sure we don't miss out sharing with Katie Anna. So let's just talk about, where are you from?
I live in Broussard, Louisiana. We're one of the fastest growing cities in the state. And I have been very privileged to live there. I'm presently even writing the history of the town that I live in.
See there? That's just going to make it even more interesting, because I know after we start sharing these pictures, you got stories behind each picture that you're going to share a little bit about it. And as I'm talking to you, I can't help but keep noticing this cookbook that is laying on the table. And that right there is also another spin-off of you starting off writing everybody else's stories. Now you're going into writing your town stories, and you're putting the history behind it and showcasing in your recipe book here called Southern Art and Recipe Cookbook. And we haven't even shown the pictures yet. So tell us a little bit about that book so we don't forget.
Okay, this was just a way in Louisiana to be able to showcase what we're all about here in this state. It's all about culture, it's all about festivals, it's about our food, it's about our music, it's about what makes us unique and individuals here in the state of Louisiana. And we want, as representatives of that, to get people to come to Louisiana and share with them what we have. And later on, you're going to see some of the work that I do, which reflects some of what I'm going to be speaking on later on.
Okay, well, I'm going to kind of interject something. As we were kind of fanning through the book earlier, you brought out a portrait that I remember in our very first interview. So you have artwork, but what I'm seeing, Linda, is you went from doing people, and your certain style really caught my eye. For example, maybe it would be a good time to possibly hold up the piece that's not only in the book. Show this real fast and tell us who's in that cookbook.
Okay, this picture here that you're looking at,
okay,
this picture here is of Mr. Hadley Castile, who was a musician from Opelousas, where I'm originally from, and he passed away several years ago. He was very, very proficient in playing the fiddle. He's in the Louisiana Hall of Fame, and as I'd go to festivals and show my artwork, there were always musicians there, and it just got me started thinking, well, I want to immortalize these people, because one day they're not going to be here anymore. So not only do people know Mr. Castile or have known of him because of his music, but now they're going to know that he's in a recipe book, and the recipe that he has in here, stuffed shrimp, was his own favorite recipe that he cooked himself.
And that's just one of the different personalities that's in there. And let's go back to the wide shot. That's great right there. And while we're talking about this, and not confusing my camera lady here, let's kind of zoom in on that big old picture that's in front of our table. What's that all about?
This one
Lower the camera.
This picture here is called Jive Dancing. And again, as a historian, I was interested in the culture not only here in Louisiana and Lafayette, Louisiana specifically, but in New Orleans, where the African Americans played jazz, which is very, very popular.
That's a good shot.
But they didn't have a club to play at or anything, so what they had to do was to play in warehouses after hours, say like a trucking company or something that had a big warehouse that they would open up to these people. And I wanted the picture just to show their vibrancy with the colors of their clothing and the action of them moving and dancing and showing people what fun you can have when you come down here, you know.
Well, now that we've got that shot, we'll go back to the widescreen and raise it up a little bit. And from there, we won't be jumping all over the place. But I sure didn't want to miss us telling the story of that picture that's sitting there in front of this table. Linda, let's go ahead and let's share this picture that's on the table.
Now, this is Cedric Watson. Cedric is a young Texan that came to Louisiana several years ago. He actually went to UL to study and learn French, and he sings in French very, very fluently.
Looks great, looks great.
Not that he knows what he's saying, but...
Okay, if you want to lower that down, then let's go ahead. There's just so much that we have here that we want to share, but let's go back to the basics of who are you. Linda, you have so many different styles. Which painting style did you start first? Because you gradually branched out into so many areas. Let's start back with the first time you started painting for us to see, for the public to see.
Well, that all started back in probably about 15 years ago when I would actually show my work. Before, when I actually started painting, it was just to have a gift at Christmas time to give some of my Christian friends. And I didn't know what I was going to give them, and I wound up looking in my attic, found a box of 4-inch white tiles. And my idea at that time was going to be just to write a Christian scripture on there, but something just took a hold of me, and I could start seeing things. And I'm there, okay, well, let's see if this is actually me. And I got paints, and from saying a scripture that may have had to do with a gate opening wide, well, a little iron gate.
There you go.
Just showed up.
Well, you know why I brought that up, Linda? Because you see, when I first met you, like I said, you were going around all over the place and taking pictures and writing articles about what everybody else was doing. And in the process, yes, I remember that little bit of that story you just said. Then lo and behold, all of a sudden, here's Linda on Facebook, and she's actually got work at art galleries at that time. So Facebook is another place where if anyone's interested, they can just check out Facebook and type in your name, and they'll come up with, what is it you said?
Uniquely Mine Southern Art.
Okay, that's on Facebook.
And that's on Facebook, and they can also, if they're interested, go to a website called Image Kind, and that's all one word. And there they can see not only my work, but work of all artists. It's like an international site. So it's, if you want work Southern art, which I prefer to do, and the style that I use, I call this realistic impressionism, because some people that are interested, younger folk that are getting interested in art, have a conception of art being kind of staid, you know. Mm-hmm. So I like to do things that are colorful, things that mean something to the person themselves that are going to buy the art.
Okay, and the reason I had wanted to share that part was because I remember us kind of hearing different bits and pieces, and I ran into you at the Sweet Dough Pie Festival, and there she was, not only with what she was known for, helping others, but there she was actually with a booth, and her artwork, some of it was displayed. So it just goes to show you just all over the place. Well, listen, what we're going to do is, I think at this time, to be sure that we have enough time to talk about this awesome artwork that's displayed, maybe we need to go ahead and show some of that. So we're going to probably let our camera lady go ahead and move to item number 1, and that's going to be talking about the pelican.
Monsieur Pelican is his name, and he's in a setting that shows Bayou Teche. Or if you're from New Iberia, if you're have toured the area, you would have gone to Bayou Teche, you would have gone to Bayou Tortue, you would have known some of those places. And the pelicans, unlike what people think that they're just in New Orleans, they do have brown pelicans in Louisiana, and specifically in Broussard, in the bayous. You'll see them there.
So that was your inspiration of why you painted this particular piece?
Right, because I want people that are into the recreational sports to come out and know that at places like Bayou Tortue and Lake Martin, we have 45 different species of birds out of 200 species. There's 45 there, and from June to August, you can see things like the second picture that you're going to see here.
Okay,
shortly.
well, let's move on to the second picture.
You're going to see things like the little blue heron that's peeking his head out, and the great white heron, and another little egret. And we also have things like cormorants, and we have hummingbirds, we have cardinals, we have just...
That's just one of the two of the birds so far that you've captured.
And those are the bigger birds that you're going to see out there.
And that's in our own backyard almost.
Right.
Wow.
And then if you're in a boat out at the bayou and you're crabbing, in Louisiana you can crab all year long. It's an open season.
Well, moving on to the next picture, let's talk about that crab.
And the next picture would be, it's cheaper by the dozen.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Takes at least a dozen to get really filled up.
Right.
Oh, I get hungry just looking at that. Wow, people, Katie Ann, and people that do not know this passing through get to be educated not only in picture but also just sharing that story.
With the history that we have here to share with the rest of the world.
That's it.
And the next picture that you're going to see showcases something that everybody's familiar with, from Abbeville to Lafayette, which is a good plate of oysters on the half shell. Sprinkle a little bit of lemon on them, a little bit of hot sauce, and try it.
Did you bring any of this stuff, or are you making me hungry just by looking at all these awesome pictures?
On the left, you'll see a beer that is local.
We missed that part. All right.
Eat a beer.
Well, listen. That is just some of the, I would say, Cajun food, but you're calling it Southern food, Southern history. And I do believe there is another picture that our special camera lady is going to be showing you in just a moment. So while she's getting that ready, let's talk about where have you displayed some of your work recently?
I am currently showing at the Teche Bank in New Iberia on Week Street. I'll be there until the end of August.
Okay, you know what, Linda, earlier I thought about it and it just kind of disappeared when I got to talking about something else. When I think of you and the first artwork that blew me away, that was a fiddle, wasn't it? Big old huge fiddle, and what event was that and why?
I was very, very privileged in that respect. This was in Opelousas in 2010. 21 artists were chosen out of a slew of artists to do a representation on a fiberglass fiddles that were 4 foot tall, which were to showcase Louisiana's culture in the city and bring notoriety to Opelousas, which is a very, very small community. Mainly a small majority of the people there are African Americans. And
that was awesome. I want to know where that fiddle's at right now.
The fiddle is on permanent display at the courthouse in Opelousas on the square, as are some of the other ones.
Just, you know, we just really need to take a camera and go down there and just get all that. That was so awesome, and I didn't have a camera crew at the time. But boy, when I saw those different fiddles and then you were a part of that, that was just really awesome to see what people could do with the idea of the fiddle itself.
Now, Mr. Hadley, who was in this cookbook, if you
Right.
remember, I showed you the picture.
Right.
Well, Mr. Hadley is also epitomized on one of the fiddles someone else did.
And he just passed away recently.
Recently,
not
a
too long
couple.
ago.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well, I think we're going to move to that last picture on the other end.
Okay.
If you want to talk about the last picture, which is...
Most of my work can be categorized as realistic, impressionistic, or in some cases folk, like folk art. Well, this is a crawfish that got away.
That's the only one that got away, huh?
He got away.
Looks like he's missing some parts, though. Wait, I'm just joking.
Well, if you find out that you are not the guest, but you are the food, you'll be running too.
Yes,
so that was
ma'am.
his story.
That was his story, and that's unique, and that's really a good shot right now. I see they just cleared it up. So while I was joking around about that. Well, okay, so we've got a lot of food artwork displayed here, and also we still have some items over here. My Cherie is doing our camera work today, and I really appreciate it. She's part of our new team crew. So we're going to be talking about, I think, one or two more items to show. She's just running back and forth, but thank you so much. And this is?
This is representative of something that you would see when people come to Louisiana and to Lafayette to the Festival International, which has been going on now for 29 or 30 years. And I love music, as do most of the people down here. We were born out of the womb dancing, and I love jazz, and this is kind of an impressionistic piece.
Kind of tell us a little bit about the picture and what is it we're looking at?
Well, it's two horn players, and they're playing during Mardi Gras. So
That's a good shot right there.
So you'll be able to see that the colorations on their face are hidden because there's mask on their face.
That's right. That's why I wanted to bring that up.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome. That is great work. Okay, and then she has much more, but this is what she brought us today. Okay.
Now this is a new piece that I just created. This is a bicycle, as you can see, an old bicycle. Last year, the mayor, or maybe it was a year and a half ago, the Lafayette Parish Mayor Joey Durrell opened up a biking lane that goes for their local students at UL can bike all the way down to Pinhook.
Well, I saw that, but I didn't know who it was behind that.
And if you go downtown, there's also a bike route.
So he was the one behind all this.
Joey Durrell.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
And the bikers appreciate that also.
Definitely. I mean, it's a wonderful way for the college students to go around town and to try to be safe without having to drive in between the traffic.
And it makes the motorists that are driving out there too more aware and safe and all that also. So it's a win-win situation. Did not know he was behind that. See?
So that's what this was all about.
Thank you. Okay, well that pretty well takes care of the artwork that we brought in today. So.
And I just want to leave everybody with a reminder that not only do I do artwork, I do photography as well. I'm a writer, and when the Acadian Festival comes up next year for an anniversary, this is a worldwide festival that's coming up. I have been commissioned.
We have still got plenty of time, so keep talking.
I've been commissioned to write a history of the community I live in, which is Broussard. And Broussard's been there 150 years without any representation.
Wow, what amazing.
So that's why years ago we started a newspaper there.
Okay, we have about 3.5 minutes left, and so when was the newspaper started?
The newspaper was started by a Senator Patrick LeBlanc about 10 years ago, and
the name of the newspaper?
The newspaper is Acadiana Gazette, which has recently gone through a new ownership, so now people, instead of picking it up in Broussard, which it is available, the new owners are from Youngsville, which is another fast-growing community.
Wow.
But
Yes, yes. So, question. How long have you been writing for the Acadiana Gazette? Or are you still writing for them?
not since May.
Not since May, but you wrote for them for many, many years.
Right, for almost 12 years.
Yeah, that's about the time.
And then now
The Acadiana Gazette is a free magazine that most people can pick up.
they can pick it up at grocery stores, at banks.
It's pretty well at any stand that you pick up these free magazines with. Lots of great articles. I've been in a few of them through people I know have been in a few of them. And most of the time, the person that wrote the article was Linda Moe.
Well, now I'm writing different. I'm not writing for a magazine anymore or the newspaper, but I am writing a book.
So that means that you now are eligible, and may I ask you to consider coming on the Writers Guild of Acadiana and sharing your book later on, where we can get you an appointment to come. See, you're an author now, so I'm just
right,
happen to be the president.
I would appreciate that. I like that a lot.
Well, I've had a little bit of inside Acadiana, because let me tell you what, I just fanned through this book, and I love what I see, and also, too, I understand that you have some people in there also that you did a painting for. Let's give Miss Carolyn Shelton a plug here. You did her artwork on her very first, you said, book.
Right.
I did not know that. I have her cookbook, and it's awesome, and you also are showcasing her in this book that's coming out, right?
Yes.
Small world, and I love it. I know you know by now that I love cookbooks. Not only being a part of them, but I love finding them, especially unique ones. And I'm just a transplant from Shreveport, but let me tell you what. I'll never be a size 3 or 4 again. Who cares? You know, because this food is just too good. Well, we are now getting to the end of the show. I'm having to close it out. I want to thank you so much, and it was fun. And we want to thank our camera lady for making you laugh and feel comfortable, Cherie. And I want to thank Acadiana for tuning in. We also have a new night now. We have our shows that are being featured every Monday night at 9 o'clock on Cox Cable 16. We originally in the past was on Tuesdays, but they have moved us to a new night, same time. So tune in every Tuesday night, and if you'd like to be on our show and help us tell people about who you are, then please contact us by checking out the emails that's on the screen. You can check with Linda if you want to know more about where she's at, what she's going to be doing as far as Louisiana Heartbeats. You just have to come here to see what is going on. If you have a show of your own that you think that you would like to create, then we sure would be glad to help you get it started. Meanwhile, you just never know. It just might be you when you tune in that we're actually featuring. But this time it's Linda Moe, the Southern artist.
Well, that's all I have to say for the moment. And I thank Ms. Sudi very much for having me on this show, which is the highlight of my day.
Oh my gosh, it makes me feel so special. But you know what? I just have fun, and I love stories inside of stories. And you have some more stories to tell.
And I'll come back and I'll tell some stories.
And then we will feature her artwork, not only, but her author work. Thanks, everybody. See you next Monday night.